Hey guys, don't forget what Women Binge. We got merch.
Merch.
Get some merch, yo. We got hoodies, we got t-shirts. What else we got?
We've got cups. We've got notebooks. We've got all the hats.
All the things.
You want
all
it?
the things, you
we
guys.
Got it.
What Women
If you don't
Binge.
see it there,
ask for it.
ask for it. We'll make it.
We're good at that. You're good at that. That's her thing. Check it out. Get some merch. Subscribe, rate, review. Check us out on YouTube. Peace out.
Peace out.
Since I'll always be older than you no matter how old you get, you can feel
You're just
free
down
to
the road
ask
from
me.
me. I like to say, like.
Right? No. It's interesting, everything's kind of the same, I would say, from like 35 to 58. You're like, I feel exactly the same. And then at 58, you're like, wait a minute. Hold on. There's somebody sitting in the corner with a big 60 sign on her head, Going like this.
Oh, no.
And so you start to look at it's not that you feel so different, but you start to feel differently about your life.
Mm.
And it's not a terrible thing. It's actually really fun. It's great to be older. I mean, I loved being in my 40s. I love being in my 50s, but 60s is awesome.
Yeah.
So it's not something to be afraid of, but it's definitely different.
That's good to know.
Next year I get to fill out the paperwork.
Yeah.
Paperwork.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Next year you got to, next year it's AARP year, huh?
Discount time.
No, AARP starts at 55. I hate to tell you that.
Oh.
What's 65?
They start
Medicaid?
counting you
Medicare? What is it?
With newsletters at 55.
Oh.
But 65 is when you get medical. 65 is when the government gets involved.
But that's when you get like discount ski lift tickets and like you get into Costco early. Like you get the good benefits, right?
Yeah, there's a store here called Bristol Farms, which is very fancy, darling.
Yes.
Very fancy. And on Tuesdays, they have I think 20% off for people over 62. The places run amok. I mean,
that must be like ripe dating area.
I was going to say that sounds like a cattle call.
That's a little like dating like arena, right? Like who's got the money to come into Bristol Farms and hanging out here at this certain
Who
age?
needs a nap? It's Tuesday at the grocery.
This one's got 3 little ones, including twins. So
oh wow,
they're fun.
Yeah. So you guys, so Beth and I are going to the Tampa 90s Con in September. Mm-hmm. So you'll have to come. I'm
with.
Gonna
pack myself in the suitcase and
pack yourself in my Southwest suitcase. I get 2 for free.
It's wild, but it's a lot of fun. I have a girl in my building, Melissa. I live in an apartment building in Los Angeles now because I don't really want to garden and do all the stuff that involved in owning a home. And this young woman has 4 children under the age of 5.
Ooh.
Wow.
In a 2-bedroom apartment. So I don't even know how that's possible, but she's the sweetest person and the kids are amazing.
Oh my gosh, you have to offer to babysit.
Yes.
Although you might talk about a heart attack.
Oh my God, there's 4 of them under the age of 5. I don't know if I could.
Just say you'll take 2.
I had 3 and under there for a minute.
Wow.
And that was a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe just go take her some coffee sometime and be like, hey, go take a shower.
You're a
I'll
great
make
cook.
sure they're alive.
Just go cook them a meal and slide it under the door. Hey, I know you like spaghetti
over, because I'm always cooking, so I take over like cookies and treats and stuff. So I'm their favorite new person of all.
Beth's a caretaker. She likes to take care of everybody.
Oh, me too. I feed people, and I feed people.
That's your love language. Beth, do you know what your love language is? It's probably gift giving.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's knowing, I'm super observant. So if you've ever been to my house and you asked for a tonic water, then there will always forever after be that at my house. You will never, what I mean?
Wow.
Like I know what people
that's
mention,
so lovely.
I'm listening. Like Melissa said, I'm really listening to who
You're
you are
thoughtful.
and what you think.
She's a good listener.
Do you take notes on people? No,
just mental ones.
I mean, I do in my mind.
Yeah. I have to physically do it. I'm way too ADHD to remember.
You do that?
Yeah, I legitimately in my notes on my phone, I have like threads of things about people that I want to remember. So things they said they liked, or their birthdays if they've mentioned it and I haven't put it on a calendar yet, or like especially coming up on Christmas or things like that. I'm like taking little notes.
I have like a gift like note for everybody that I just like add people in if there's an idea that comes up. But I have so many of those notes that like I'll get lost. I'll be like, gifts today, gifts for this, gifts for Christmas gifts. And I'm like, oh man, I have too many. I don't know where I put it.
Well, it's not just gifts. It's like little personality traits that I see in people that I'm like, oh, they really enjoy when we talk about this. So I'll write that down. Because otherwise, how do you remember?
Yeah. That's good thinking.
Well, and also, it doesn't always need to be a gift. It can be a little card, a little note, just thinking of you. Just letting people know that you're thinking of them and that you understand, maybe what they're going through. If they're going through something, I think all of that is really.
I am a big card person. My kids get so mad at me. There's always cards sitting on the kitchen table with a pen or different colored pens, and I'm like, sign the card. Like before I went to Ottawa, I was like, there's like 5 birthdays coming up, end of April, early May. I'm gonna need to send these all out. Sign it now. This is Aunt Trisha. This is your cousin. This is your cousin. This is for this one. Someone's graduating. I need you to sign all these cards right now because I love to send cards out, but I also have such a massive family that most of the time it just pertains to my family. It doesn't really go beyond that.
There's a lot of birthdays to remember just in your family alone.
Yeah. Oh, wait, that's one of the things you taught me that has worked so well are my orchids. She has taught me how to properly water an orchid.
How do we do this?
They all come back now. I've never had an orchid come back. I've had sticks sitting in my house for years, and she taught me the proper way. Tell us the proper way to water an orchid, Beth.
Well, one thing, most people overwater their orchids, okay? So you don't want to water them until they're actually dry. And you never want orchids don't want to sit in water. So you want to take them out, of the big vase and water beneath the leaves. Don't get the leaves wet. So you want to water beneath the leaves. And then you take orchid food and feed the leaves with food. And with the potting mix that they're planted in. So it's like every 10 days, you want to take them and water them beneath the leaves. Don't soak the leaves and make sure that they drain properly before you put them back.
That's the whole thing. I always take them out of the little pot, put them in my sink, flush it through. It goes out the bottom and then stick it back in the pot later on. And I'm telling you, I have one right now that's budding like 4 blooms on it right now that's just been sitting in my window.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it blooms like 2-3 times a year.
Okay.
I know, I'm so excited.
Many people do not know how to keep their orchids alive, or they get one for a gift and they just throw it away because they don't think they're ever going to be able to.
I actually keep them.
I wrote a blog about it. I wrote it was called "I'm going to need you to stop doing that" about things people do to their plants.
I overwater. I'm an overwaterer. That's why when I was gone, I was like, okay, I know my husband can take care of the kids. He knows the schedule. He is the one that feeds them. He understands the laundry, the whole thing. I'm like, what I'm worried about are my plants. And he's like, look, you overwater them so they'll be fine while you're gone.
I babysat a plant for you. I should have brought it today, actually, that my sister has for you. That was a birthday gift. And I was like, I'm not giving it to her until she gets back from Canada. It'll die.
I know. You always used to put ice cubes in my orchids because that's what I was taught.
No.
Never brought them back until.
No, there's no ice in Hawaii, girl.
I know. You told me that. And I was like, it makes so much sense. I never thought of that.
I just use a little shot glass. And I've always put it under the leaves, but I didn't know you could take them out of the pot. I didn't know that wouldn't.
They usually come in like a really thin plastic.
Interior pot. Yeah, you can't take them out of that.
And that drains well.
Some plants go into shock when you move them around a lot. And so I've just never done that.
Mine have been great. And actually, now I've actually for Mother's Day this weekend, my Brady went to the grocery store with his dad to get me dinner. And he also got me this little necklace, but this was actually it says mom, but it was an old birthday present that he hadn't given me yet.
Oh.
So he gave me that, and then he gave me an orchid. I was like, thank you. He knew I wanted orchids. Yeah.
So see, he's paying attention.
He is. He's actually, my Brady is the gift giver. He's the one that knows. He pays attention and he loves that. He's always had a girlfriend until he got to middle school. And I think that was because he could give them gifts. He wanted to give them Christmas gifts and Easter gifts and birthday gifts and Valentine's gifts. That's like his thing, is like being able to show care like that. So that must be his love language.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Do you remember a story called The Gift of the Magi?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Do you remember that story where they're so deeply in love and he saves all his money to buy her a hairbrush?
Yes.
And she has her hair cut off so she can buy him. I can't remember what she buys him.
Yeah.
And so it's the gift of the Magi. So the things that they give each other, end up
they can't use it because they
they can't
don't have
use
the thing. That's actually funny enough, there's a Mickey Mouse version of that. I can't remember what it is, but Mickey and Minnie do the same sort
The
of
sweater thing.
Yeah, there's something, but
Yes.
but again, she sells this and he sells that so that they can get.
He
each other
wants to get her the
gift.
necklace, and he's trying to sell all of his
Yeah.
things to get it, and she's doing the same thing. Oh,
Yeah, I can't remember what it was, but yeah, it's that.
I love that sentiment, though. The thought of like, I think my sister Laura and I are like, I consider us kind of gift of the Magi sisters. She's so tortured by this 30-day challenge of me not having a car and trying to get around without one. She's like, my day is clearing up. Is there where you need to go? Anything you like? She just can't take it.
So are you just Ubering, or
No,
you?
so tell her your little adventure here, and then you can read it in the blog.
I am using Lyft and Uber, but I've also figured out like there's a Flix bus that goes to I have to go to Palm Springs on Wednesday, so I'm taking the bus, which it's got the Wi-Fi and all that, and so it's supposed to be really nice. So normally in California you just get in the car and go, right?
Right.
So this is like, oh shoot, I forgot the mozzarella, so I'm put on my bike helmet, get the bicycle, go to the store, get the mozzarella. So like really kind of teaching myself, how would you do it if you didn't have a car? What would life feel like and it's actually quite doable.
But it takes a lot of figuring out, right? To like figure out the bus path
you have
and
to think ahead. Yeah, you really have to like figure it out. There's a lot of resources available. I mean, anyone could do it, but you have to know. You have to really put some thought into your day.
Well, and Beth points out too in her blog that, and I love this because I'm such an environmentalist, that you're like, if we did, instead of meatless or with meatless Mondays, if we did like bicycle riding Fridays or something, if I know that like cities have that once in a while, but honestly, like if everyone did it once in a while and we figured it out, it could be so great. I mean,
everyone did it like 2 or 3 times a week, just said, well, I'm going to take my bike instead, or I'm going to, or on your way to dinner, and this happens in LA all the time, there's 7 people going to dinner and 7 cars.
Yeah. Oh, my family, we've got 3 cars and 3 of us show up at church separately. It's like, and then we all go to the same brunch. I'm like, mainly because my kids want to drive themselves, but I'm like, all right, but at what cost? And for the environment, for our gas bill, for all this stuff, right?
Right, for everything. I mean, like, so we just need to all get in the habit of saying, you want me to pick you up? Like when we're going somewhere together, and it's just little habits like that.
I miss riding a bike. Like in LA, I would ride a bike. Riding a bike, LA, funny enough, we didn't really ride bikes a lot in Connecticut, and we don't really ride bikes in Nashville, but we rode bikes all the time in LA. Like that's because we lived in an area where there was nearby restaurants and grocery stores. So when I'm in LA, I will ride, I will walk, I have to be careful because when I go to Trader Joe's, I have too much stuff in my bag. So, I'll end up carrying a ton of stuff home.
Get a little balance.
Yeah, I shouldn't have gotten the pasta sauce or something. I'm like, why did I get 3 things of almond milk? That kind of thing.
Yeah, well, like when I stay with you there, we always walk to dinner and then pick something up at Trader Joe's or whatever. Yeah. I mean, I live in this neighborhood in like Beverly Grove, it's called. So I could walk to like 100 restaurants, 3 different grocery stores, Trader Joe's, every bank you can think of. So, I'm getting a lot of walking done. I'll tell you that.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like I just read this thing about how we're doing things backwards here in the U.S. Like we have grocery stores full of probiotics and supplements and stuff, and then we have CrossFits on every corner, and we've got all this stuff going on. We have to wake up at 4 a.m. to get our workout in, go to our therapist, try to eat right, to take our probiotics. But if we were like living in Italy, walking would be kind of included in our everyday activity. We'd eat cleaner foods, which then we wouldn't need all these supplements, and we would get a better night's sleep, and we'd have social time with our friends over at like Amanda and I do a really good job of being social and seeing our girlfriend. We have a girls group that we do pretty well with, kind of hanging out and being there for each other. So, it helps with like keeping the therapy bill down a little bit.
For real. It does.
Right. No, that's really important. I mean, I think isolation is one of the big dangers in American society. And, like one of my articles, I talked about some of the research I've done where, especially as you get older, like people in their 60s, I think it's like before your 60s, like from whatever, 20 to 55, 28% of women live alone and 23% of men.
Wow.
When you get into your 60s, that goes up into the 30s, like 38% and 34%. And people 70 and above, 40 to 50% of people 70 above live alone.
Wow.
So, as you age and as we, go on in society, go forward in life, it's really important to build those things in for yourself,
Yeah. Social time is super crucial in my life. Like I always make sure I make a lot of time for my friends. Sometimes I get yelled at for not spending enough time with everybody, but I try.
Well, you can't be in 4 places at one time.
I try to be.
You do try.
Work-life balance is I think it's a challenge for everyone.
Yeah.
No matter what your circumstances are, but certainly for you ladies with 3 kids, I mean that balance becomes really hard to strike, but you have to have some me time.
Well, there was an episode of Sabrina where I cloned myself, and I wish I could do that. But
wouldn't that be great?
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
A me that could clean. Now, if you could clone yourself, like minus the ADHD. So like a me
your
that
clone self doesn't need any prescriptions. How about that?
a me that had executive function.
Yeah,
like that sounds great.
There you go.
Yeah, if you me that out there.
AI, we're not that far. We're not that far from this, you guys.
Oh gosh, no.